Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Sifu Messiah. This is a weekly show which covers everything from the world of Star Citizen over the past week. Links can be found in the description for everything we discuss, so let's get on with it. So today we have a special Gamescom edition of Star Citizen Sunday where I'll bring you all the relevant, needed information from Gamescom in a concise 30-minute show. Sit back, relax and enjoy the facts from Star Citizen's Gamescom 2015 presentation. I just want to start off with a big thank you to both Nick Allison and Driver, who have become our latest patrons. Thank you both so much for your support. If you are interested in becoming a patron, head over to our Patreon page using the link in the description. Thank you. So, as you are all probably quite aware, there was an event held by Star Citizen at Gamescom. They did live stream it, but if you missed the live stream, I have put up the videos of the multiplayer demo and the social module, and today I figure we're going to do a special edition of Star Citizen and focus solely on Gamescom and what we saw, breaking it down and just giving you all the information that's relevant. So if you missed it, sit back and enjoy. If you didn't miss it, you can probably still learn something or discuss something in the comments, so let's get on with it. Started with Sandy and Ben on stage, introducing the show, and they called up all the cosplayers, so everyone who is in costume got up on stage, and each person won a Vandal glaive, and the winner, which would be determined by the amount of cheers they had, would win an 890 jump. Turns out the top three that got the cheers, they gave an Origin 890 jump to anyway, so they gave quite a lot of ships away within the first 5 minutes. After that, Chris Roberts came on and said hello to everyone, mentioned that 1.1.6 is live, and within this they have brought in the new glaive. So, the glaive will be flyable, but you have to do something first. If you defeat the full 18 waves of Vandal Swarm, can be you on your own or as a team, I would suggest going in a team, then you will get the chance to purchase the glaive using rental equipment credits. Now, it's 35,000 REC, which is quite a pricey ship, but it could be totally worth it if you are wanting to fly it. I think you also get a badge as well to show that you've done that, so get in there, get fighting. It's going to be tough. There's only 1,000 available, so if you are within the first 1,000 people to defeat all 18 waves, then you get the chance to rent the glaive. Anyway, moving on from that, he started getting into the interesting stuff, the really cool stuff, and it was about the social module. Now, obviously, we're waiting for the FPS module, but the social module is going to hit first. They have that pretty much wrapped up. At the end of August, we will see that it'll be released for us to play. Star Marine, I think what they said would be end of September. Still fingers crossed on that one. But you'll be able to walk around Arc Core, which I'm showing the video now of what we should be able to do. Interact with the environment. They say it's the first step into the larger world. For the first iteration of the social module, there'll be 20 players in one server. You can chat to them using your keyboard, not voice, I don't think. And you can do emotes. Obviously, they expect people will just use things like TeamSpeak for now if you go in with friends. And you'll be able to transition between hangar and arena commander, so you can walk out of your hangar into the streets, come back to your hangar, get into arena commander, come out of arena commander, go back into the streets. It's going to be all fluid, so it can all flow together. Really excited for this, and I cannot believe it's coming at the end of the month. It's so close. So basically, as the video showed, you start off in the customs area and then you are free to roam the streets. There is no sort of purchasing yet, and he did particularly mention clothes. There isn't any clothes at the moment, but the next couple of updates afterwards will allow you to purchase clothes and swap out your clothing. You can dance, and as I said, you can chat, so you can head to Cubby Blast, which we will see in a minute, where you can boogie around together. You can use your augmented reality, which is a little eyepiece you wear, which puts labels on things, so when you walk into places like Cubby Blast, you can see the price labels or the descriptions of the weapons. Now, from Cubby Blast, which was the first shop they visited, they went to the medical unit, and this is a really cool place. So if you get injured in space or anywhere, to be honest, you can go here, you can get yourself fixed up for a fee, and also, let's say if you need to get stocked up, ready to go on a mission. It kind of reminds me, does Star Citizen, of Grand Theft Auto. When you're planning that heist, you have the three characters that you've got to go and collect either a car, some weapons, some uniforms. It's going to be like that when you're playing with friends on Star Citizen. You're going to be able to think like, right, we need medical equipment for 6 people, so you may be the one sent off to go and get the amount of stim packs you need, then someone will go off and get the relevant weapons, or God knows. Anyway, that's the medical unit. They also said that the next update will include AI and schedule, so when it first drops, it's just going to be you, some random people, or you and your friends walking around in a desolate or an empty place. Kind of eerie feeling, but the next updates, sort of version 1 and 2, will include AI and their schedule, so you'll see them walking around. So from there they went to a place called Jobwell, or the TDD, which is the Trade and Development Division. These will be in pretty much all locations, and this is where you would get your jobs from, any missions that you could find. They won't all look as snazzy as this one. Some of them will be in sort of rundown areas, and they will represent the area themselves. So you can get your jobs for hauling, escorting, mercenary jobs, or bounty hunters, etc, etc. Lots and lots of different jobs. Looks very cool, looks very smart, and you'll go up to the little counters and pick out your job and then take the little, whatever, I don't know, the information into your Moby glass, and then that would be your job description. After they went to the TDD, they went to the bar, which is called the G-Lock bar, which again is another place you can get missions. So you could speak to some people, some AI in there, and say, they need you to do this, but they want you to keep it on the down low because they couldn't officially put it through the TDD. Or even just normal missions. Obviously, if you're a bounty hunter, you may need to find someone in the bar and use your augmented reality to check the names of the characters. But also, you can just come, relax, have a drink, have a dance with all the other men on the dance floor. Then they went to the back alley, which is very, very cool. And this is a place where you could likely get mugged. There'll be dodgy dealings. It's quite dangerous. And where you'd get sort of your grey missions. They wouldn't be the ones that they could put into the TDD. They could be pirated missions where you need to capture a certain cargo ship, etc, etc. Now, from there, they went to the Astro Arena. Now, this is a really high-end ship dealer. And in the persistent universe, they said that not every dealer, or every shop for that matter, will have the same items. So you can see the M50 that was floating around, not necessarily going to be an M50 in every Astro Arena. It would be different, so it sort of forces you or encourages you to travel to different areas if you are looking for a particular ship. From there, they said about the Kasaba outlet, which I think we could see in the distance somewhere. And this is the clothing outlet, but it's not ready to show off yet, so they just sort of skipped past that and went into Dumper's Depot. And you would go up to the terminal and you could buy little items that you see on the shelves. I think we saw some, what were they, Alfred Charles Equilla sort of leather seats for the Aurora LX or something along those lines. Anyway, you can go there and buy things. In the background, you could see the Hornet was getting repaired. I actually thought when I first saw that little arms ripping apart the Hornet, I thought it was actually taking pieces off it to sell, but it's actually the place where you take it to get fixed up. So anyway, yeah, that was the social module. As I say, it should be landing, fingers crossed, if it's ready, the end of August. Very excited for that. I know Star Marine is something we were promised sort of a few months ago, but at least they're getting stuff out to us. Well, fingers crossed on that one anyway. So after that, he did move on to Star Marine, and he showed us a little snippet of where they're up to. They had a little battle, and he said it should be the end of September, hopefully before CitizenCon. They say the biggest issue they are having is the first and third person animation unification. The only sort of game that actually does this is Arma 3. They do unify the first and third. Every other game is a separate thing altogether. So you will see players interacting with the environment on different ship systems and so forth, and picking up weapons. He did say there was 3,000 animations so far for the game, so it does take time. They need to work on hit fidelity, limb damage, limping and so forth, or maybe one arm is disabled if you are shot in the arm. But their philosophy, they say, is better to do it right, so I totally agree. I know it's frustrating, but I'm happy to wait as long as they need to take. That's why I back the game, because we don't have publishers telling them to get it out the door now. Anyway, he moved on to the ship pipeline, and he says they're focusing on getting ships available from early on in the campaign, getting them online as quick as possible. So these are the ones that we backed for probably years ago, getting them done. Santa Monica CIG is working on Origin, Drake and Misk. Foundry 42 is working on Aegis, Anvil and also Misk. And at the back half of the year, there should be ships in the hangar and then ships in space. So from there, he spoke about Squadron 42, and he did say that there'll be more at CitizenCon. So it sounds like when CitizenCon comes, there's going to be a lot of information about Squadron 42. It sounds like it's going to be close to being ready. I know they said end of this year, but things are getting pushed back. Hopefully it's still going to be end of this year that we get to play Squadron 42. I cannot wait to have a VR. Hopefully they're ready by then. They're official joysticks. Man, my life will be complete. Anyway, Foundry 42 in Germany. They're working on the tech developments, the cinematics, procedural generation, making the CryEngine sing is what they said. And they will eventually be working on seamless transitions on flying from space down to planet side and vice versa. So this is something that I think was quite early on quashed and said, currently we can't. Well, it's going to be like, the transition is just as we saw in the planet side demo, where you could walk around your ship, but it's an automated sequence. You can't fly down yourself, but it's not either going to be a silly loading screen. It's going to be a transition that you can walk around and it won't feel like a loading screen. But they are working on it so that you can fly down yourself, which is exciting. Now, moving on to the community, he says there is currently 935,000 citizens, which is insane. We are almost at that million mark. 30,010 orgs, 5.2 million forum posts, and 216 countries represented. Now, that is some impressive stats. And they're going to release some new community tools for us all. So, starting with the Community Hub, which is a constant contact for curious citizens. Then there's the Issues Council, which is the next level for bug reporting. And then there's going to be a ship and stretch goal status page. Now, to explain what these are, Turbulent released a video. It's pointless me trying to explain what it is. I might as well just leave the video on for you guys to watch. So here it is.
Explains the Community Hub and the Issues Council.
Greetings, Star Citizens. My name is Ken Wang, and I'm a Senior Project Manager at Turbulent. Today, we'd like to give you a sneak preview of some features that will benefit you, the community. The Issue Council and Community Hub.
The Issue Council is a groundbreaking, crowdsourced approach to evaluating and validating bug reports. Not only do you contribute your own bug reports, but also you can evaluate other people's bugs and vote on them. You help decide which bugs will be fixed. There are three main phases to using the Issue Council: contribute, prioritize, and resolve. When you find a bug in the game, simply visit the Issue Council and click on the Add Report button. We want to provide the developers with as much relevant information as we can about the bug, so we ask you for your gaming computer specs as well as detailed steps to reproduce and expected result. You can also contribute to the Issue Council by reviewing and confirming other members' bug reports. You can indicate whether you were able to reproduce the bug, or if the bug is invalid or a duplicate. Bugs must be triaged and confirmed by the community before they can be voted on and acknowledged by CIG. The community can discuss bugs in the contributions section at the bottom. You can prioritize bug reports by upvoting or downvoting them. Voting on confirmed bugs will result in an overall community rating that is imported automatically into CIG's bug tracking system. Once a bug report receives a certain number of reproductions, it will become acknowledged by a CIG developer. At that point, CIG will handle the bug report in their own internal bug tracking software. If a bug report does not receive enough reproductions, it will die. So community involvement is critical to the process. With the Issue Council, our goal is to involve the community even more deeply into the game's development process. Another benefit is that only valid reports will pass through to CIG, thus making the QA process more cost-effective. Next up, the Community Hub. With the Community Hub, any backer will be able to contribute their own content to our website. The Citizen Spotlight section contains your contributions of in-game screenshots, videos, and fan art. The Deep Space Radar section is your one-stop shop of links from anywhere around the verse. Any interesting links pertaining to Star Citizen can be submitted to Deep Space Radar. Finally, you can submit your podcast feed URL or live stream feed by connecting to Twitch directly from our site. All of your contributions will then be able to be upvoted and commented on by the Star Citizen community in the race for the coolest content. The Community Hub is your page.
We're really excited to be launching the Issue Council and Community Hub. These are both social tools, and we can't wait to see what you will do with them. See you around the verse.
So, as you can see, some really exciting stuff there, especially for myself. The community fan pages where you can put up your own videos and upvote them or whatever. Expect to see me on there. Anyway, they also mentioned about the Guinness Book of Records. It is the most crowd-funded game ever, but not only that, it is the most crowd-funded project ever, which is an amazing achievement, and Chris was there looking quite coy receiving these awards. Well done, guys. This is literally down to the community, down to Chris Robert and everyone at CIG. It's like a team effort, and we're all involved, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of this whole thing. It is so exciting to be literally changing the gaming industry. We're all gamers, we're all massive fans, and some of us have been gamers since the 70s, some of those like me, sort of late 80s, 90s. It is so nice and refreshing to see the games coming to fruition, and when everyone was telling me, you're wasting your life playing games. That was pretty much an impression of my mum. In your face, mum. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on from this. It's getting quite childish. They got another award at Gamescom from DualShockers, which is the best PC game, which, to be honest, I think the official Gamescom people should have presented them with that, but it's not quite a game yet anyway. So they wanted to talk about ship modularity, and they say they're starting with the Cutlass, which will have interchangeable interiors. The Connie, you can have it with a med bay. They say it's coming. Now, the component parts we know are 4 sizes. You've got light, medium, heavy, and capital. We've got images of some shield generators, a power plant, and a cooler. All of them very, very cool. All of them interchangeable, and these are the sort of items you'll be buying from places like Dumper's Depot. You'll be able to look at them. You'll be able to scrap them from other ships. If you find a derelict, you may be able to take it apart and use these parts for your own ships or to sell on. Awesome, cool, really exciting. Weapons wise, there's going to be 12 size ranges, so there's a lot of variation there. Now, the Retaliator, the modules are ready now, and I'll show you a couple of pictures, but I'm going to do a proper report on it tomorrow because that's the official Star Citizen Sunday on Monday, which has been pushed back because of the Gamescom special, which I think most people are most hyped for. You can also make your Retaliator a passenger transport, a bomber, cargo hauler, a dropship. It has those 2 modular rooms, which are now currently torpedo bays or bomb bays, and that's what the base ship comes with. Really can't wait to start messing around with our ship interiors. Anyway, the next section is about the Star Citizen joystick. Now, this is very, very exciting, and I remember, I think my girlfriend was watching like Emmerdale or something, and I was giggling away in the background because I was so excited about this. They have gone with Cytec, who make the X55, the X52, the X65 for their own personal HOTAS setups. And I don't know if you noticed, I didn't notice, when the first Kickstarter video happened, the Hornet that was used actually had an X52 as their sort of model joystick. So that was one of the reasons why he instantly sort of liked Cytec as a controller manufacturer. He says all controllers should be equal somehow. There is not going to be one god controller. They're all going to be balanced, and you can either have HOTAS, HOMAC, which is mouse and keyboard, HOTAC, which is throttle and keyboard, I assume, HOMAS, which is mouse and stick, and even HOSAS, which is, I can only think is stick and stick. So there's going to be so much customization for you as a player. You can use whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you prefer, whatever your abilities lie. Each Star Citizen ship manufacturer will have its own base level entry joystick and throttle, which look unbelievable. I mean, look at I am probably going to be one of these people that has to buy each one and have them just to display, or maybe when I use that particular ship. I really hope I can fight the urge because the base entry levels are $149 each, which isn't too badly priced. I think it's about £90 to £100. They're not out of the world unreachable, but they will have a whole sweet range of things like keyboards, mice and all that. We'll get onto it. On the throttle and the joystick there is trackballs, which actually look like they could come in handy. I've never used one. I don't know how well I'll play with one, but they look cool, so you can still fly and aim at the same time. Now, as you saw, the Aegis, the RSI and Anvil, they have their sort of concepts designed. We also saw this with a cool sort of OLED screen, bespoke button panel and keyboard setup. That looks incredible. That's actually how I use my Thrustmaster HOTAS at the moment. I have one either side of my keyboard. But there's also going to be a high-end one, and take a look at this bad boy. This is based on the X65. It's got die-cast metal chassis, trackballs again, analog sticks, but then they're also going to create things like headsets and mice, which I think Mad Cats look like they're a subdivision of Cytec, which is why it looks like the Ratcatcher or whatever it's called. I'm so excited for this stuff. They say they do it complete, not just one thing. So all these things are going to be released. I honestly, I just cannot wait. I hope I can get affiliated with them, and I hope that they can send me some free stuff. I'm going to keep pushing, keep nagging, fingers crossed, and if I can get enough, we'll do a giveaway, but that's a long way off, I expect. Anyway, from there, we went to the multi-crew demo. Now, this is Arena Commander Alpha 2.0. It is large world. The maps currently in 1.0, the Arena Commander that we know, are about 8 kilometers across. When Arena Commander 2.0 comes, it's going to be 8,796,093,022 kilometers in sort of size. They say they can get up to that amount of size, which is just unbelievable. It's a consistent universe space, no loading screens, so you don't need to go from one loading screen to the next in order to get into your hangar or whatever. It's all going to be fluid, and they use things like zone systems and physics grid systems. I'm not going to get into them. I think we've discussed them before. My mind is still not quite working straight, so I'll leave it there for that, but that is how they do it. So I'm going to sort of slowly break down the multi-crew demo, and it starts with this really cool, you're on board this really, really cool space station. It just looks fantastic. It's so Alien Isolation. And I love the idea that you might be able to rent rooms in these different areas when you're landed, and each will look different. I mean, we've only seen the Gold Horizon. This one looks just incredible. I also think it would be really, really cool if you and your friends came across this place, but it was abandoned. So like how they found the Retaliator later on, they come to this spot, this whole space station, it's all abandoned, a bit like how you would probably find Gold Horizon. It's all derelict, and you sort of get out of your ship, head down the stairs, and just sort of explore, and you can loot, trying to find the sort of restore power area where you can switch all the power and the gravity back on. All the while sort of wondering why is it derelict, you know? What's happened? Yeah, imagine an alien on board this and you're trying to fight your way through it. Difference being, you don't know if you can kill the alien or not. You've got to get out of there. But anyway, yeah, it's sort of pretty cool. You start off in a room. You can rent this whole area for your team or for just to yourself, and then meet up after the job and go for a drink or plan the next mission. Who knows? But anyway, from there, they sort of transition in to this airlock, and it's very, very cool. This is where, you know, it allows you to pass from no atmosphere into the sort of artificial atmosphere created on the space stations, and it looks really, really cool with its sort of flashing lights, all the smoke being kicked up, and everyone's just sort of waiting. And then they eventually come out into the whole sort of upper platform, switching all the torches on, which again looks really cool and very intense. It'll be really immersive and quite scary if you're walking through these sort of derelict halls with a torch on. If we land at a place like this, expect it to be populated with other players, NPC players obviously, ships taking off, coming back. This is again just a demo, don't forget, so this isn't how it's going to be. It's going to be more populated. There'll probably be security around, there'll be more rules and regulations as to where you can land. They did say that the Cutlass, you can see they've got the Gladius, the Hornet, the Super Hornet, and then the new Cutlass. Now these new Cutlasses have the zone systems and the physics grid, so you can walk around freely in the ship even while it's rolling. I think they do try and show that off a bit. When he sits down in his chair, he sort of waves his hand to shut the door. Very, very cool. All these emotes are going to play quite well into the game. Obviously you can talk, or you will eventually be able to talk, but using emotes and pointing and things, a bit like they do in DayZ, will be useful. But it does look cool when you can see all these ships just docked or sat, you know, just waiting to take off. I just cannot wait to get my hands on this thing. Now once they've entered into the Cutlass, you can see it's a little different from the original, so it has changed. I believe I was told this was the Cutlass Blue, but they must have swapped out the interior because there was no holding cells or anything along those lines. There's just spare seats either side, which pretty cool. I do like that idea. And then you've got like the little bays at the back for holding cargo, which again are things that you can put there yourself using grabby hands. You can open up these boxes, you can close them, all sorts of stuff can go on. And it is so cool when they're taking off from these landing pads and you can just see the space station in the background or other ships taking off. Really, really, really cool. So when they finally find the place they're looking for, you can see it's the derelict, which is over 3 million meters away, which is about 3,000 kilometers. Now that is a long, long way. And when they engage their quantum drive, it takes seconds to get there, but it is such a cool transition. And if you are on a longer quantum drive, if you are traveling quite a long distance, like from one end of the system to the next, you can actually get up and walk around your ship again. It's not like you're stuck, but quantum drive will kick itself out of quantum travel if there is something in the way. So if there's another ship or a space battle or an asteroid or a planet that's in the way that you're traveling, it will disengage it and you will have to come back to your cockpit quick to sort of make sure you're not going to get shot at. So once they've got to the tally, they find it, they can see it's out of power, the turret has been shot off from a previous battle. You can also see that the Gladius and the Hornets are circling around the area, so they have come as protection, sort of escorts, to make sure that the EVA crew from the Cutlass who are trying to enter the tally don't get attacked. And even that looks just incredible as they're all flying out. But I think the best bit for me is when the EVA crew get into the Retaliator, and when you see that second person enter head first and then flip round, sort of silhouetted by the torch from the first character, it just looks insane. It's so cool. And again, you go back to the same concept of the space station. If you are checking this ship, the thing they didn't do for the demo purposes is sweep the ship once they got the gravity back on. They just walked straight around and turned it on and got into the cockpit. You will have to check every corner to make sure there's not someone waiting, anything sort of creature-wise waiting. Who knows, it could be a trap, you know, there could be pirates sat hiding places, ready to take hostages and so forth. It's really, really cool. And again, aliens, you know, you could get on board there and then there'd be an alien when he turns around the corner to go to the the gravity generator, which again, I must point out looks insane, there could be all sorts waiting there for you. When he's sort of flying through and he's using his hands to maneuver around, this is something that will be implemented into the game, so you will naturally react with the environment, and it's procedural, so you can grab, you can push off, you can turn yourself by holding on. It'll just fluidly run through, and look, it does look insane. I'm so impressed with how they did that. But anyway, once he restores gravity, the other guy goes down to the other side of the ship, finds the power generator, which is pretty much the same process. Hopefully it'll be a bit more in-depth than just turning those little tubes, and he turns on the power. So while they go to their sort of respective stations, you get people going into the cockpit, someone going into the turrets, then you got someone also entering the engineering station. Now this is where you can change the powers to your weapons, to your shields. You can turn on the main power. He has a lot of control there, and he has a lot of balancing to do. So if he's getting attacked, he can have messages relayed from the crew saying we need shields at rear, or maybe right side, port side, or whatever the hell I need to learn those sides. And he can put in power where he wants. So if a turret gets shot, or if there's no gunner in one of the turrets, you can take off the power to that turret, put more power into the engines, into the other guns. Then if they need to transition from that turret to the next, they can, reroute that power. The whole twisting down to go into the bottom turret under the cockpit looks fantastic. That is just one of my best images ever. So meanwhile, while they are trying to get themselves prepared to get on their way home, we see a constellation coming in who has also got the signal for the derelict retaliator. Now you can see he sees where these people are. He strangely enough decides, after assessing the situation and seeing a retaliator, a cutlass, and 2 fighters, to engage. Obviously, demo purposes only. If this was real PU, and if I was in the constellation, I just wouldn't engage. I would let them get on with it. There's no way one constellation can take on that many people. But he does, and he fires off, gets a good hit on the cutlass, takes it out, and then this big battle begins where the constellation is getting ganged upon. Obviously, he made the wrong decision, but the battle is kind of epic. You can see all the sparks flying off, the shields working so hard to keep that constellation afloat, and obviously, in the end, he meets his demise. Now, in the Gamescom Live version, the battle actually renders the Retaliator's quantum drive useless, so they cannot quantum drive back home. This was not actually part of the plan. The plan was to get the Retaliator back to the landing pad on the space station. But it goes to show that anything can happen. So even in this live demo, the constellation managed to target the quantum. I don't think it was intentional, but whatever it fired at the Retaliator, it took out its quantum drive, so you can target different systems. You take out the quantum drive, they can't jump away from you. Now they did release a press version, which is quite more of a fluid cinematic run through. We're obviously sticking with the Gamescom version because, this is what actually happened. But I will switch after the sort of cool constellation explosion to go to the actual second time they played through, because they really wanted to show off the Retaliator getting back home. So we'll switch to the next version where they returned to base with the Retaliator, landed down on the landing pads, all the other ships returned as well, and then an Idris flew over the top, and my god, I seriously don't think I have seen anything so amazing in my life. That huge ship, and again the sound of the ship blasting its thrusters as it looks like it engages quantum travel, or was it just the normal speed? It was pretty quick, but that thing is huge, and the different views they have from the ships, from the people on the ground, just unbelievable. I really cannot wait to get into one of them. Anyway, after they did this whole run through of Arena Commander 2.0, he wanted to talk about the road to CitizenCon, which we'll already have the PU version 0, which is our first visit to Arc Core. There'll be Star Marine 1.0 hopefully dropped on the Battle for Gold horizon, and again Arena Commander 2.0 should be close to or released by then. And he mentions that for Arena Commander 2.0 it will be the Celion station. I'm not sure what it was called. Again, if you heard or you know what the system is, please tell me. We'll have other locations where you can spawn. There'll be asteroid fields to go and check out. Also, they say pirates may spawn in randomly and attack. You can land on the station and you can fight outlaws. All of this will be down the road for Arena Commander 2.0, but it's coming. And again, this is the testbed for the persistent universe. It just shows us, it goes to show all the haters, all the non-believers, that the system works and they are doing it. So tell me your thoughts about that. I was so hyped when I saw that, like a little child. Amazing stuff. Really excited for it. Anyway, this was Star Citizen Sunday, the Gamescom special edition. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow we will have the normal Star Citizen Sunday, which will cover everything over the week on the RFA websites. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Show the love by liking the video and share it with your friends and enemies, and I shall see you in the verse.